Hi, Alvin. Welcome to my kitchen. This morning I'm going to make cheese muffins. I don't normally use recipe books, but in here it says I need an egg, some grated cheese, some onions, some grated pepper, something to put it in, a bit of flour, a bit of baking powder, and in the fridge I've got some milk just to put it all together. The first thing I do is grease the patty pan. So I haven't got any oil, so I'll use a spray bran oil here, rice bran oil. We'll try just a light spray apparently. That'll be enough. To do this I need a big bowl. I think there's one in here somewhere. Let's have a look. This will do. Maybe the biggest one of the lot. So I've got my measuring cup here. I need 2 cups of this stuff. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. See, that's nearly 2 cups. Look at that line there, perfect. It said sift dry ingredients, so we're sifting now. I need 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. So now I need to sift that through there to get the lumps out of the flour and the baking powder, and in it goes. Try not to create dust. Any lumps, which is minuscule, get the humper down there. We don't need too many onions, but just a few to give a wee bit of flavour there. So I generally do it this way here, just cutting them into small lumps like so, always heading into the centre of the onion, and that's probably enough, and I just jettison that bit there. So that'd be enough for me onions. I don't want too many. So I just put these into this bowl here now, and I just pre-cook them in the microwave with a touch of butter in there. Bacon's the next trick. I don't want much, and I don't want the fat, you see. So if I just whip this bit off here like that ensures that I get enough there, and if I put that back in there, it looks as though it's intact still. No one would know you'd been in there. These are in turn cut to small pieces, not too big, because you don't want big lumps of bacon in your muffin, you see. Always mindful of your fingers. You never want to nip the end of your finger off, because you don't want blood through the bread. The onions have had their minute in the microwave, so I just add that to that, stirring gently. Grated tasty cheese is my next additive here, and I think you can get at it by going this way here. And I put all that in every time, like that. A cholesterol bullet. So you muddle that in just a bit, like so. Get the onion coming through the cheese, and the flavours starting to effuse. You know what that means? The next thing, of course, is the egg. Now these are straight from the back end of a chook, but they go in here like that. Keep that shell for after use later, and in she goes. It's about this time that I'd add a little bit of pepper. Not much, just a touch. Egg yolk here like so. Oops, the bottom's going to come off. That's enough of that, because some people don't like too much of it. That goes into this brew here. Look at that. I might as well get it all. Now the tail end of this, I've got to add some milk to it. So what I'm going to do is do that after I've put this into here. I suppose I could get a knife out that would help me get all this out in one go. I'll do that. Make a well, it says, and add 1 further cup of flour. Now, I'll put a half of one in and see how that goes. Working it in, but not working it in, if you know what I mean. Looks a bit dry to me, but we'll keep chasing it. It says a cup, we'll give it 2/3 of a cup. Chasing, chasing, chasing. I think it's going to need it all. Oh, she's getting the bog on now. Now it's important to put the oven on. I think I want it on bake, which is there, and it says around 200. So we'll give it to 200 there, checking that there's nothing else in the oven there that's going to burn. So I've given that a wee work up there with my hand, not much. I think that'll do. Look at that, how are you going to get that off? Now it's a slow process, about a spoonful going into each one. Oh, I better get a thing here. Push that in the other way. Push that in the other way. Will I poke them or just flatten them?
No, don't touch them.
Hello, the boss from next door has given me instruction not to touch them, so I'll just give them a gentle pat, like that. That looks ideal to me. So just to recap, we got 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 cup of milk. Oh, I think that's a half a... We haven't put salt in there yet, I better do that. 2 cups of grated cheese, 1 egg and a bit of bacon and onion. So we're going up to 200 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. I reckon 15.5 minutes. So I omitted to put salt in here, but the bacon will, it was smoky, salty bacon, so that will take up the slack there for the bit of salt I missed. It only wanted a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and you really got to cut that down in your diet. I just had to wait for that little red light to go out there now, and I can insert these fellas in here like that. I often forget the, because I get watching YouTubes, so we start that there. Wonder what that's about. Cancel, cancel. So I often forget them when they're in the oven, and I get a burnt top. So we'll set it going there, we'll go for 13 minutes, we'll see what happens. With 7 minutes to go, let's see how we go. Oh, we go. Look at that, she's starting to rise. My rationale for making these muffins today is to keep Lynda on the needles. She's in the process of knocking up a jersey here for me. A beautiful Aran pattern jersey that I've aspired to have. Keep at it, Lynda, keep at it. We're getting the warning, she's done her cooking. It's time for them to come out. Whew. Switch her back to idle. I better get a glove to get these out. So far, so good. So now we put the billy on. So there you go. Cheese muffins and a cup of tea. See how that goes.